For 3 years, Roman Castellano never really saw her, until the night his mousy secretary walked into the ballroom and turned every head including his Dot. She was the assistant no one noticed. He was the billionaire everyone feared. A secret love, a dangerous rival, and a choice that could shatter everything or make their love unbreakable. Celeste Morgan adjusted. Her thick-rimmed glasses, for what felt like the 100th time that morning as she hurried through the marble lobby of Castellano Industries. Her oversized grey cardigan hung loosely over her petite frame, and her dark hair was pulled back in the same tight bun she wore every single day. At just 26, she had mastered the art of being invisible. The elevator carried her up to the 52nd floor, the executive suite, where she had worked as personal assistant to Roman Castellano for the past 3 years. 3 long years of being treated like office decor. 3 years of watching the most powerful man in New York barely acknowledge her existence beyond assigning tasks. Roman Castellano, the cold and commanding CEO, stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his corner office. His broad shoulders filled out a custom Italian suit with effortless authority. At 32, he inspired both respect and fear. His steel-grey eyes missed nothing in the business world, yet somehow he had never truly seen the woman who managed every detail of his life. Celeste knocked softly before slipping inside, balancing his perfectly prepared espresso and a neatly arranged itinerary. "Mr. Castellano," she said quietly, placing both on his desk. Roman glanced up, his gaze brushing past her without lingering. "Cancel the 3 o'clock with Peterson. Move the board meeting to tomorrow," he said, his tone clipped and dismissive. "Already done, sir. I thought you might want more time with the Morrison acquisition files." Celeste replied smoothly. He paused for a brief moment. Her efficiency always impressed him, though he rarely admitted it. "Fine. Anything else requiring my immediate attention?" Celeste hesitated, clutching her leather portfolio a little tighter. "The Children's Hospital Charity Gala is tomorrow night. Ms. Winters cancelled this morning due to a family emergency. Would you like me to arrange another escort?" Roman's jaw tightened. The gala was a crucial event for his company's philanthropic image. Arriving alone would stir unnecessary gossip in the social circles he relied on. After a long silence, he spoke, making a decision that would change everything. "No need. You'll accompany me." Celeste nearly dropped her portfolio. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't think I heard that correctly." "You heard correctly," Roman said firmly. "All my associates know you. You understand the deals we're working on, and you can handle any conversation that comes up. It makes perfect sense." His tone left no room for argument, though he still hadn't looked at her directly. "Sir, I don't have anything appropriate for such an elegant event. The charity gala attracts New York's elite, and I take the corporate card. Buy whatever you need. Consider it a work expense." Roman finally turned toward her, though his expression remained distant. "I need someone competent by my side, not another shallow socialite, only interested in being photographed." That afternoon, Celeste found herself standing nervously outside Bergdorf Goodman, the company card burning a hole in her purse. She had never spent more than $50 on a single item of clothing in her life. "May I help you?" asked a polished sales associate named Miranda, her professional courtesy unable to hide her surprise at Celeste's modest appearance. "I need something for the Children's Hospital Charity Gala tomorrow night," Celeste murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Miranda's demeanor shifted instantly. The gala was one of New York's most exclusive events. Of course, she said warmly. Let's find you something absolutely perfect. What followed was a transformation that stretched on for hours. Miranda chose a breathtaking midnight blue gown that highlighted curves Celeste had long hidden. The silk shimmered with quiet, elegant, sophisticated, yet stunning. Now, for the finishing touches, Miranda declared, guiding her toward the accessories department. The hidden beauty began to emerge. The next morning, for the first time in 3 years, Celeste called in sick. She spent the entire day at a luxury salon Miranda had recommended, where a team of stylists worked their magic. Her long dark hair, once trapped in a severe bun, now flowed in soft waves over her shoulders. Her thick glasses were replaced with contacts, revealing striking emerald eyes. Subtle yet flawless makeup brought out her natural beauty without hiding who she was. That evening, when Celeste looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. The woman staring back was radiant, confident, beautiful, for the first time in years. She felt like herself, no longer hidden behind the carefully constructed mask of invisibility. Meanwhile, in the grand lobby of the Plaza Hotel, Roman Castellano checked his watch impatiently. His assistant was late, something highly unusual for her. Several business associates had already approached him, and he needed someone who could handle the endless small talk with intelligence and ease. "Excuse me, are you Roman Castellano?" He turned toward the voice and froze. Before him stood the most breathtaking woman he had ever seen. Her midnight blue gown draped flawlessly over her curves, shimmering subtly with each movement. Her emerald eyes sparkled with intelligence, mystery, and depth. "I'm sorry, do we know each other?" Roman asked, his usually steady voice faltering. Something about her seemed familiar. "It's me, Mr. Castellano," she said softly. "Celeste, your assistant." The voice was the same, but everything else was transformed. Roman's mind reeled. This goddess, this vision, was his mousy secretary. The woman he had barely noticed for 3 years now looked like she had stepped off the cover of a magazine. "Celeste," he repeated, almost testing her name on his lips, as if hearing it for the first time. "You look different." She smiled, and something inside his chest shifted. "I hope that's not a problem, sir." When they entered the glittering ballroom together, every head turned. Men stared openly at Celeste with admiration, while their wives whispered behind silk fens. For the first time in his life, Roman felt a flicker of possessiveness over a woman. "Mr. Castellano, wonderful to see you." Senator Harrison greeted warmly, his wife by his side. His gaze shifted curiously. "And who is this lovely lady?" "Senator Harrison, allow me to introduce Celeste Morgan, my companion for the evening." Roman's hand settled lightly at the small of her back, sending a surge of electricity through them both. Celeste smiled graciously and immediately drew the senator's wife into a thoughtful conversation about the hospital's new pediatric wing. Her poise, warmth, and intelligence shone effortlessly. All evening, Roman found himself watching her. This was no longer just a physical transformation. Celeste moved with quiet confidence, spoke with wit and elegance, and commanded attention without ever trying. Roman Castellano, who prided himself on being unshakable, was captivated. She was everything Roman had never realized he wanted in a woman. When the orchestra began to play, he surprised even himself by asking softly, "Would you care to dance?" Celeste hesitated only a moment before slipping her hand into his. As he led her onto the dance floor, Roman drew her close, breathing in the faint, elegant trace of her perfume. "You're full of surprises tonight." he murmured against her ear. "I'm the same person I've always been, Mr. Castellano. Perhaps you're just seeing me for the first time." Her words struck him like a revelation. How had he been so blind? For 3 years, this incredible woman had been at his side, and he had never truly seen her as they swayed to the music. Roman studied every detail of her face, the emerald depths of her eyes, the warmth and intelligence that had always been there, hidden behind thick glasses and conservative clothes. "Tell me about yourself, Celeste," he asked quietly. "The real you, not the assistant who brings me coffee every morning." For the first time, Celeste laughed freely, and the sound was like music to his ears. "There's more to discover than you might imagine, Mr. Castellano." The evening had only just begun, yet Roman already knew his life was shifting in ways he couldn't control. His perfect assistant was no longer just the efficient shadow in the background. She was about to become the most important person in his carefully ordered world. Neither of them realized how dramatically their lives were about to change. But as the night wore on, Roman felt himself falling for the woman who had been in front of him all along. The transformation was complete, yet it was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey together. The following Monday morning brought an unusual tension to Castellano Industries. Celeste sat at her desk in her usual uniform, oversized cardigan, thick glasses, her hair pulled back into its practical bun. Outwardly, she looked the same, yet something essential had shifted. She could feel Itraman's eyes on her, lingering, searching, as though he were truly seeing her for the very first time. All morning, he emerged from his office more than usual, finding excuses to stop by. Her desk, every interaction carried a charge, an unspoken electricity that hadn't existed before. At the office, the days after the gala, something unspoken lingered between them. Whenever Roman handed Celeste a document, their fingers would brush, sending sparks through both of them. "Celeste," he said one morning, his voice softer than usual, "about Saturday night." "It was a lovely event, Mr. Castellano," she replied professionally, though her cheeks warmed with color. "The hospital raised substantial funds." Roman leaned closer to her desk, lowering his voice. "That's not what I meant, and you know it." Before Celeste could respond, the elevator doors opened with a sharp ding. Out stepped Vincent Morrow, Roman's biggest business rival and former college roommate. Vincent was everything Roman was not: smooth-talking, charming, and dangerously persuasive. His reputation for hostile takeovers was matched only by his conquests. In New York's social scene, Roman, my old friend, Vincent greeted with a smile that never reached his calculating blue eyes. "I heard you made quite an impression at the charity gala. Word is, you had a mysterious companion who stole the show." Roman's jaw tightened. "Vincent, what brings you to my office uninvited?" "Business, of course. I have a proposition that might interest you." Vincent's gaze drifted across the room until it landed on Celeste and lingered. "And who might this lovely assistant be?" "Celeste Morgan," Roman said curtly. "My personal assistant." Vincent's eyes lit with recognition and something sharper. "Opportunity, ah. The same assistant who accompanied you to the gala, I must say. The photographs in this morning's society pages don't do you justice, Miss Morgan." Celeste's stomach dropped. The photographers, she had forgotten about them entirely, which meant her image was now splashed across New York's social pages. After Vincent departed with oily promises to be in touch soon, Roman pulled up the society columns on his computer, and there they were, photographs of him and Celeste dancing, laughing, looking every inch the perfect couple. The headlines screamed, "Mystery Woman Captures Billionaire's Heart." Who is Roman Castellano's stunning new love? Roman stared at the screen for a long moment. Then he spoke quietly, almost to himself. "This changes everything." "I'm so sorry, Mr. Castellano," Celeste whispered, her voice trembling. "I never thought about the media attention. This could affect your business relationships, your reputation." Roman studied her face, the genuine concern in her expression, the selfless worry for his welfare rather than her own suddenly. Exposed position. "Celeste, look at me." She lifted her emerald eyes to meet his steel-grey ones. "I'm not sorry this happened," he said softly. "The only thing I regret is that it took me 3 years to truly see you." Over the following weeks, their office romance, quietly, began to bloom. Their relationship slipped beyond professional boundaries, growing into something deeper, something neither of them could ignore. Roman found excuses to stay late, just so he could spend time with Celeste after the building emptied. He learned things about her he had never known, that she spoke 4 languages fluently, that she had graduated summa cum laude from Columbia, and that she had turned down prestigious offers at other firms all to work for him. One evening, as they shared cartons of Chinese takeout on his office sofa, Roman set down his chopsticks and studied her seriously. "I need to ask you something that's been bothering me. With your qualifications, you could work anywhere, be anyone's executive assistant, or even run your own company. So tell me honestly, Celeste, do you stay here because of the job or because of me?" Celeste lowered her food, her expression thoughtful. "At first, it was about the job, but somewhere along the way, it became about you. I've watched you build this empire. I've seen how you treat your employees fairly, how you donate quietly to charities without recognition. I fell in love with the man you are when you think no one is watching." Roman leaned closer, his eyes burning into hers. "And now," Celeste whispered, her voice trembling, "I'm terrified, because loving someone means you can lose them." Roman cupped her face gently in his hands. "You won't lose me, Celeste. I promise you that." Their first real kiss was tender, yet fierce. 3 years of suppressed longing poured into a single moment. When they finally pulled apart, breathless, both knew there was no turning back. Meanwhile, Vincent's dangerous game was already unfolding. Unknown to Roman and Celeste, Vincent Morrow had begun his own investigation. He had discovered that Celeste's transformation was more than just clothes and makeup. She had been hiding her true self for reasons tied to a past she kept carefully concealed. Calculating his move, Vincent arranged a seemingly chance encounter at a quiet coffee shop near the office, one of Celeste's favorites. "Miss Morgan, what a pleasant surprise," Vincent said smoothly as he slid into the seat across from her without waiting for permission. "I hope you don't mind the company." Celeste looked up from her book, her body instantly tense. "Mr. Morrow, this is unexpected. Please, call me Vincent." He offered her a disarming smile. "I wanted to apologize for any discomfort I may have caused during my visit to Roman's office." But behind his charm, Celeste sensed calculation. "Vincent Morrow wasn't here by accident. I also wanted to warn you about something." Celeste arched a brow. "Warn me about what?" Vincent leaned forward conspiratorially, his voice dropping low. "Roman has a pattern with women. He becomes intensely focused, makes them feel like they're the only one in the world. And then, when the novelty wears off, he moves on. I'd hate to see you become another casualty of his attention span." "You're mistaken about Roman," Celeste replied firmly. "Am I?" Vincent's smile was faint, calculated. Tell me, has he introduced you to his family yet? His friends? His social circle? Or are you still his secret, hidden away like a guilty pleasure? The words landed harder than she wanted to admit. Roman hadn't introduced her to anyone from his personal life. Their relationship lived in the shadows, confined to his office, to whispered confessions and stolen moments. And once Vincent's seed of doubt had been planted, it began to grow. Over the following days, Celeste started noticing things she had once ignored. The way Roman continued to introduce her as merely his assistant in meetings. How he avoided public displays of affection. How carefully he seemed to keep their romance compartmentalized from the rest of his world. When his mother called one evening, inviting him to a family dinner, Celeste overheard him making excuses about being too busy with work. Not once did he mention her. Not once did he suggest bringing her along. That night, as they worked late in his office, Celeste's usual warmth felt forced. "Something's bothering you," Roman said, watching her carefully. "Talk to me." "What?" "It's nothing important," Celeste replied, forcing a smile that didn't touch her eyes. "Celeste," his voice softened, "I can tell when you're lying. After 3 years of working together, and these past weeks of whatever we are to each other, why, know your tells." Her emerald eyes lifted to his, filled with vulnerability. "What are we, Roman, really? Because from where I sit, I'm still just your assistant, the one you happen to kiss after hours." Roman felt something cold settle in his chest. "That's not true, isn't it?" she pressed. "You haven't told anyone about us. I'm still a secret you keep locked away in this office. Out in public, I'm your assistant. Behind closed doors, I don't even know what exactly am I to you?" The tension between them tightened like a live wire, threatening to snap. It finally did the next morning, when Roman walked into the office, an ivory invitation card in hand. "Clear my schedule for the Davidson wedding next Saturday," he said. His tone clipped. "Professional, of course, Mr. Castellano," Celeste replied, her voice cool. "Shall I also arrange for your usual companion service to provide you with a suitable date?" Roman froze, his head snapping up sharply at her formal tone. "What's that supposed to mean?" Roman demanded, his voice sharper than he intended. "It means exactly what I said," Celeste replied evenly. "You'll need someone appropriate for such a public event. And we both know that isn't me." "Celeste, you're being ridiculous." "Am I? Then take me. Introduce me as your girlfriend, not your assistant. Show the world that I matter to you as more than someone who manages your calendar." Roman hesitated. It was the briefest pause, but it was enough. In that sliver of silence, Celeste saw everything she needed to know. "That's what I thought," she whispered, turning back to her computer. "It's complicated," Roman said, his voice taut. "My family, the business relationships, the media attention, it's only complicated if you're ashamed of me." "I am not ashamed of you," he shot back, fierce and raw. "You're the most incredible woman I've ever known." "Then prove it." The challenge hung heavy in the air, an invisible line neither of them crossed. Roman wrestled with his need for control, his instinct to protect his carefully built world, against the undeniable truth of how much Celeste had come to mean to him. That afternoon, her phone rang. "Miss Morgan," Vincent's smooth voice came through without preamble. "I hear Roman's attending the Davidson wedding alone." Celeste's silence was answer enough. "I have a proposition for you," Vincent continued, his tone silk over steel. Come work for me. I'll pay you double what Roman does. I'll give you the recognition you deserve. I'll treat you like the accomplished professional you are rather than keeping you hidden like some shameful secret. I'm not interested, Mr. Morrow. Think about it, Celeste. You deserve better than being someone's hidden treasure. You deserve to shine. When she hung up, her hands trembled. The world she had so carefully constructed was splintering, and she couldn't tell if Roman's love was strong enough to hold it together. By Friday evening, the atmosphere in the executive suite was suffocating. Roman buried himself in preparations for the wedding, avoiding any mention of who would be at his side. Celeste responded with a kind of cool professionalism that felt like a knife between them. Every trace of warmth frozen into polite formality. As he gathered his coat to leave, she rose from her desk. Mr. Castellano, I need to speak with you. He froze at the formality. They hadn't used titles in weeks. Slowly, he turned. What is it? Celeste removed her glasses and placed them deliberately on her desk. For a moment, she looked exactly like the goddess who had stunned him at the charity gala, the woman who had taken his breath away. I'm resigning, she said quietly, her voice steady even as her heart raced. Effective immediately. Roman felt the ground tilt beneath him. What? His voice cracked with disbelief. Celeste, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. From her drawer, she pulled a neatly folded resignation letter and placed it on the desk between them. I've accepted a position with Morrow Industries. Vincent offered me an executive role, full recognition, and double my current salary. Roman's jaw tightened, his eyes darkening with fury. Vincent, that bastard. This is his doing. His voice turned low, dangerous. Celeste, you don't understand. He doesn't care about you. This is just another way for him to get to me. Maybe so, she said calmly. But at least he's not ashamed to be seen with me in public. The words struck deeper than any blade. For the first time, Roman truly saw the pain his hesitation had carved into her. Celeste, please let me explain. There's nothing to explain, she cut in, her voice trembling but firm. You've made your position perfectly clear. I'm good enough to share your bed, but not your life. And I deserve better than that. Roman's chest constricted. His usual armor confidence, arrogance, control fell away, leaving him bare. You're right, he said quietly. You do deserve better. Better than me entirely. But I'm too selfish to let you go. The vulnerability in his tone froze. Her. This wasn't the ruthless CEO, the untouchable billionaire. This was Roman stripped of every defense. Do you want to know the real reason I've hidden us? He asked, voice raw. It's not because I'm ashamed of you. It's because I'm terrified of losing you. Celeste frowned, confusion battling with hurt. That makes no sense. Roman raked a hand through his dark hair, anguish in every line of his face. My parents had the perfect marriage. 25 years of happiness, of love and partnership. They were each other's whole world. And then, my mother died in a car accident. I watched my father fall apart. He never recovered. 5 years later, he died, too, and everyone said it was from a broken heart. Celeste's anger wavered as the pain in his eyes reached her. I built my life on control. Roman continued hoarsely, on never letting myself be that vulnerable. I told myself that if I kept you compartmentalized, if I didn't let you become everything, then I could protect us both from devastation. But I was lying. His voice broke. You already are my everything. You have been for months maybe. Years and I was too blind to see it. And the thought of taking you to public events, of claiming you openly, terrifies me, because it means admitting I've fallen completely, irreversibly in love with you. Celeste's vision blurred with tears. His walls, those ironclad barriers, were gone, shattered at last. I love you too, she whispered, her voice trembling. But love isn't supposed to be something you hide from. It's supposed to be something you fight for. Then I'll fight, Roman said, closing the space between them. His voice dropped, fierce and certain. Let me prove I'm worthy of your love. How? Celeste whispered, torn between hope and disbelief. Roman didn't hesitate. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, and when the call connected, his voice was steady. Mother. It's Roman, about dinner tomorrow night. Dyke brings someone very special to meet you. Her name is Celeste, and she's the woman I'm going to marry, if she'll have me. Celeste gasped, her hand flying to her lips, eyes locking with his as he said the words, "Yes, Mother, I said marry. I'll explain everything tomorrow. We'll see you at 7. He ended the call without looking away from her, his expression raw, vulnerable, and resolute. But before the moment could sink in, slow clapping echoed from the doorway. How touching, Vincent drawled, leaning against the frame with a smug grin. A real fairy tale moment. But I'm afraid Miss Morgan has already signed a contract with my company. Legally binding, I assure you. Roman's eyes turned sharp and lethal. Get out of my office. Vincent smirked. Actually, this is about to become my office. While you've been distracted playing house with your secretary, I've been acquiring enough shares of Castellano Industries to call for a vote of no confidence. The board meets Monday morning, and with a little evidence of your inappropriate relationship with an employee, well, let's just say your CEO title will be a fond memory. Celeste felt her stomach twist. This was her greatest fear, that their love could cost Roman everything. You son of a, Roman growled, taking a step forward. Vincent raised a hand, feigning calm. Violence won't save you, and besides Miss Morgan is contractually obligated to begin work with me Monday morning. Aren't you, darling? The room fell silent as both men looked at her. Roman, the man who had finally bared his soul to her. Vincent, the manipulator, offering power and security laced with poison. But for a moment, Celeste saw herself as she once was, a timid woman hiding behind thick glasses and oversized sweaters. But that woman was gone. In her place stood someone, stronger someone, unafraid to take control of her destiny. You're right, Vincent, she said softly. I did sign your contract. Roman's face fell, his eyes clouded with anguish, but Celeste wasn't finished. She reached into her purse and pulled out the crisp contract. However, she continued, her voice clear and unshakable, I never submitted it to HR, which means it's not legally binding. With deliberate grace, she tore the document in half. The sound of ripping paper cut through the silence like a blade. Vincent's smug grin faltered. And one more thing, Celeste said, her tone sharp with newfound power. I recorded our entire conversation yesterday when you tried to manipulate me into believing Roman was ashamed of me. That little audio file should be very interesting to the board and the press. For the first time, Vincent's mask cracked, his confidence drained, replaced with something dangerously close to fear. Industrial espionage, attempted corporate sabotage, harassment of an employee, Celeste said coolly. Those are serious charges, don't you think? She held up her phone, the recording app glowing like a weapon. You little bitch, Vincent snarled, the last shred of charm vanishing from his face. Watch your mouth, Roman warned, stepping protectively in front of Celeste, his voice a low growl. Celeste's smile was sweet and lethal. Oh, and Vincent, while you were busy buying up Castellano Industries shares, you might want to check your stock portfolio. I've been documenting your illegal trading practices for months. The SEC is going to find my evidence. Very interesting. The color drained from Vincent's face as the truth struck him like a blow. He had been outmaneuvered completely and utterly. This isn't over, he hissed, though his voice lacked its former conviction. Yes, it is, Roman said firmly. Security will escort you out. And Vincent, don't ever come near Celeste or my company again. 2 guards appeared, flanking Vincent as he sputtered in rage before being forced from the office. Silence settled. The same office where their love had begun now felt like a battlefield won. Roman turned to her, eyes searching. Did you really compile evidence against him? Celeste gave him a mischievous smile. I've been your assistant for 3 years. Roman, paying attention to details is what I do best. Vincent made the mistake of underestimating the mousy secretary. Roman laughed, relief and pride mixing in his voice, before pulling her into his arms. Remind me never to underestimate you again. 6 months later, the same glittering ballroom where their romance had once sparked was now alive with celebration. For a charity gala, but for their engagement, Celeste shimmered in a breathtaking emerald gown that made her eyes glow, her dark hair falling in soft waves. The timid girl who once hid behind glasses and oversized sweaters was gone. In her place stood a woman radiant with confidence, strength, and love. Roman held her close as they swayed to the same song that had first bound them together. His gaze never left hers. Any regrets? He whispered. Only one, Celeste said with a teasing smile. Roman raised a brow, which is, that it took us 3 years to see what was right in front of us all along. He laughed, pure joy bubbling out of him, and spun her around as applause and laughter filled the room. For once, the billionaire who had built his life on control let go completely, because he had finally found the one thing worth surrendering to dot her. Then we'll just have to make up for lost time, as fireworks burst over the Manhattan skyline, their brilliance reflected in the ballroom's floor-to-ceiling windows. Roman Castellano kissed his future wife anew with absolute certainty that sometimes the most precious treasures are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right moment to reveal their true beauty. Meanwhile, Vincent Morrow was led away in disgrace, facing federal charges for securities fraud. In trying to destroy Roman's happiness, he had destroyed himself instead. Justice had been served, and love-real, unshakable love had conquered all. 1 year later, the world watched as Roman Castellano married Celeste Morgan in a ceremony that quickly became known as the wedding of the decade. Every major society magazine covered the lavish event. Celeste glided down the aisle in a custom Vera Wang gown, radiant with confidence and joy. No longer the woman who once hid behind oversized clothes, she shone with the brilliance of someone who would learn to embrace her worth when they exchanged vows. Roman's voice carried with steady conviction. He promised never to hide his love for her again. And Celeste, her emerald eyes bright with tears, promised never to hide her true self from the world. Together they had learned that love requires courage, honesty, and the willingness to be vulnerable. Their story became legend in New York's business circles. The billionaire CEO who fell in love with his assistant, and the brilliant woman who taught him that the most valuable acquisitions can't be bought, only earned through love, respect, and devotion. And so, in the heart of Manhattan, their fairy tale reached its happily ever after, because sometimes fairy tales really do come true.